Hello and welcome back to my channel. In this tutorial, we'll be taking a look at how to make custom armor models from Neoforge and Forge. First of all, we'll have this model. You can find both this and the vanilla model with correct sizes and positions in the description. What you want to do is save this file, export as Java entity to sources, main, Java, your group, then new folder, client, yet inside client, yet another new folder named model, and then save the Paladin shield model in there. Nice. The texture you have to save under source main resources, assets, your model textures, models shield, and then you can save it here, or quite frankly anywhere else, but you'll have to reference it later. So put it into the texture folder. Now we'll move on to IntelliJ, starting with the just added model. This will have a few issues. We start by clearing this generic and renaming this to only use model instead of entity model. Then we call the superconstructor with render type entity solid. That's just the render type used. After this, we can delete the setup animation method and set the package of this plus to the current location. And last but not least, for this file, we also have to reposition the texture location to be stored What we can do now is go to the mod client event pass events and add a listener to the register layer definitions in entity renderers event and use this to register the layer definition for the Paladin shield model.layer definition and Paladin shield model create body layer. Next, what you want to do is create a new class called mod block entity without level renderer. That's a pretty long name. That should I make the W capital. That should extend the block entity without level renderer. Create a constructor meshing super. Then you want to store at least private final block entity render dispatcher and private final entity model set. Those two. These should not be added, but rather initialized as the ones that are already being given. Now we want to have the on resource manager reload method and create a private field for the Paladin shield model, which we initialize in the on resource manager reload method with new Paladin shield model. This dot entity, this dot model set bake layer, and then we put in the Paladin shield model layer location. Next, what we want to do is render by item, and here we remove the supercall, have a check if the stack is, and we'll be coming back to this in a second, but first of all we continue by pushing the pose scaling it by 1, -1, and -1, then getting a vertex consumer from item renderer that get file buffer direct using p buffer. This dot Paladin shield model render type, passing in a resource location referencing the texture. Which is relative to the textures. So we had it here, so it should be model d textures slash models slash shield slash paladin.png. Note that the .png extension is important, otherwise it wouldn't work. And then you can pass that into the render type method. Next, we need pino entity is true, and last but not least, with glint. So if enchantment glint should be active, and that is just pstake.sfoil. And then we do this that paladin shield model dot render to buffer, entering the post stack, the consumer. What else do we need? Backlight and overlay, and then colors, in this case all for one. Now we continue by creating a private static final mod block entity without level renderer, not private. Public static final mod block entity without level renderer field called instance, which is initialized as a new mod block without level renderer, calling in Minecraft.getInstance.getBlockRendered dispatcher and Minecraft.getInstance.entity models. This is the instance of your block entity without level renderer. There should only be one of these in any mod, and you can extend this to render any item you want. We'll be taking a look at this in a second. Next, we want to register the reloader, the mod block entity without level renderer as a reloading. Register client reload listeners event. Don't forget to put the static here. And then event address the reloader mod block entity without level renderer dot instance. Next, what we want to do is get a new item for the shield. This means we go paladin in shield item. That should extend the shield item class and override the initialize client method, in which consumer.accept new declared item extensions overriding the get custom renderer method, which returns the mod block entity without level renderer.instance. Now we go into our mod item registry, and there we do registry object paladin shield item paladin shield. Oh no, paladin shield is equal to register paladin shield and paladin shield item called by new, for which we also have to put a new properties with rarity and com. Next, we can go back to the mod block entity without level renderer, put mod items dot paladin shield get in here to check if this item stack that is supposed to be rendered is one paladin shield, and then we render this. And we also forgot to put post stack dot pop post here. Next, we need to register the item property, so the game knows to change the model when the player is blocking with the shield. For this, we go back to the mod client bus events, and I'll be copying something over. Here we go hook onto the FML client setup event, which is called for the client in the setup phase. And in this case, we want to register the item property for the paladin shield with the blocking state. That you should know that's from the vanilla shield. It has a blocking state which is either 1 or 0. If it's blocking, then it's a 1. If it's 0, if it's not, then it's a 0. And next we need to take override the paladin shields model, item models. You can find those by just taking a look at the vanilla model and just copy paste it over to this, and then just change the reference to the overridden model for this blocking. That is basically all you need to do. And with that, we can check out if it worked. As you can see, the shield's model is loaded and looks very similar to this of the normal shield. And if you block, it also changes the model very similar to how it would with the normal shield. And therefore we are done with this part and now move on to how to convert this from 1.20.1 Forge to 1.21.1 Neoforge. For this, we are going to swap over to Neoforge project, copy everything over we had, including the shield, the models, and the model over here. Now we're starting with the model. The model has a few bugs. First of all, the relative buffer model is not correct anymore. We need to replace those four extra number values to reference a packed color, and then just override this with packed color. Next, we have this is referenced here, so we have to replace this as well with 0x, and then 2, 4, 6, 8 Fs for alpha, R, G, and B. Now we go back to mod items companion shield. We changed this, but in 1.21 we changed it to preferred item, which is basically all you have to do to change to make it work. Next, what we want to do is register it to the client extensions event instead of having it register under the initialize client method inside the paladin shield item. So we remove this, and instead we go to the mod client events, have a hook for the register client extensions event, which was also used in the custom armor model tutorial. So if you have seen that already, this should be very similar. In this case, we don't need an extra client armor extension. We just create a new eClient item extension, overwriting it's a lot more. Where is it? Get custom renderer method, which just returns mod block entity.levelrunner.instance. And you can put also, considering this is a var arc, you can also register any other shield by just putting it like this. So any other shield, anything else that should be rendered this way can be done like this. And with that, we should yet again be done. Note that the shield has slight changes in its translation in third person. So if you want to keep up to date, you would need to copy it from vanilla again. But I did that already. So, and with this, we are back into the game. The shield loads correctly, looks correctly, and if we right click, it also blocks correctly. So there we go. This is how to add custom shields to Minecraft Forge and Neoforge. Hope you enjoyed, it helped, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you the next time.